There is a secret your soulmate has been keeping, not because they wanted to hide it from you, but because some feelings are too big to say out loud right away. And today, that secret is finally ready to come to light. If you feel a little chill on your skin right now, or a small tug in your chest, that is not a coincidence. That is your soul recognizing the truth before your mind even catches up. Before we go further, I want you to comment the word "received" below, or drop a heart emoji if you feel this message is landing right where it needs to. This helps confirm that you are open and receiving what is meant for you today. Take a breath and let's begin. Dear soul, there is something you need to know. Something you may never have stopped to consider, because you probably have no idea how deeply admired you truly are. How completely someone holds you in their heart, with such tenderness that it feels bigger than logic can explain. This person, who feels your presence in a way that is rare and special, built a picture of you in their mind that was so full of light, so pure, that they honestly believed you were younger than you really are. But here is the most beautiful part of this whole story. What happened when the truth came out? Their love did not fade. It did not pull back. It did not question itself for even a second. Quite the opposite happened. When they learned your true age, something inside them opened even wider. It was as if their admiration became clearer, sharper, more certain, because the way you express yourself, the way you look at life, the lightness you carry even through hard seasons, all of it stirs something beautiful in your soulmate's heart. They sense that you are someone who managed to keep the very best parts of yourself alive. And in a world like this one, that is rare beyond words. Please pause for a second. Welcome to the Angel's Message for You original channel. Please check the channel name carefully. It's Angel's Message for You. This is our only official channel. Beware of copycat and fake channels. Stay connected to the original source to receive authentic angel messages and true blessings. Before we continue, a heartfelt thank you to Denise, Hazel, Carmen Adele, and Debbie for sowing a seed for Soulmate through your Ko-Fi. Super thanks. May this seed return to you multiplied with soulmate blessings, divine protection, love, well-being, and abundance. May the angels guide and watch over you every step of your journey. Thank you for your beautiful support. This admiration did not appear out of nowhere. It was built slowly, quietly, in the small details you probably never even noticed. In words that seemed simple but touched someone deeply. Your soulmate began to see you as someone who carries a kind of youthfulness that has nothing to do with the number of years you have lived, and nothing to do with how you look. What they see in you goes far beyond what the eyes can measure. It is an emotional lightness that walks beside you everywhere you go. A living, breathing energy that brings hope even on the hardest days. So often, people with beautiful hearts do not realize how magnetic they truly are. And you, simply by being yourself, carry this gift of leaving a lasting impression without ever trying to. Your soulmate noticed this from the very beginning. That is exactly why they imagined you as younger than you are. Because everything about you speaks of life, of movement, of a soul that is wide awake. And that cannot be taught, copied, or faked. It comes from somewhere deep within you. This message is not about praising youth as if it is the most important thing in the world. It is here to show you that the way you show up for the world, and especially for the one who loves you, is far more beautiful than you have ever given yourself credit for. Your soulmate did not fall for an appearance. They were quietly amazed to discover that you carry such a vibrant, spontaneous presence that it almost seemed impossible you had already lived through so many chapters of life. And it is exactly that maturity, wrapped in lightness, that made you even more admirable in their eyes. You are one of those rare people who leave a mark without saying very much at all. Someone with a steady gaze, a warm presence, and a way of carrying yourself that blends softness with strength. This is what captivates your soulmate so completely that time itself feels irrelevant. In fact, knowing how much you have lived through, how much you have overcome, and that you still remain lighthearted, sweet, and full of charm, only deepens their desire to know you more. The way you speak, the way you listen, the way you let your feelings show, all of it creates a rare kind of connection, and your soulmate has been quietly moved by every bit of it. And here is the most powerful part. This feeling did not come from loneliness, and it did not come from projecting an idea onto you. It came because your presence awakened something real, because the way you carry yourself brought a kind of peace that is genuinely hard to find in this world. Over time, your soulmate fell in love with details many people would have overlooked completely. Your kindness in small gestures, the way you treat other people, the balance you bring to a room even when everything around you feels chaotic. That is why your actual age was never a problem. If anything, it became a source of quiet pride, because someone who lives with this much intensity, who brings beauty into the world so effortlessly, must have learned so much from life itself. You carry a kind of youth that has nothing to do with your birth date. It lives in the sparkle in your eyes, in the courage with which you face the world, in your ability to keep renewing your heart, even after everything you have been through. Your soulmate sees this with a clarity that genuinely moves them. And this understanding only strengthens what they already feel. It sparks an even stronger desire to be close to you, to hear your stories, and to share meaningful moments by your side. The light you reflect to the world is gentle, but it is not shallow. It comes from somewhere deep, from a heart that has known pain and still chose to keep feeling anyway. From someone who understands the weight of life but decided never to let it harden them. Your soulmate connected with that truth, and the more they got to know you, the more their admiration grew. When someone meets you and feels a pull to stay close, it is because something true is being shared between you. And your soulmate did not simply pass through your life. They chose to stay emotionally connected. They chose to look beyond the surface. They chose to dive into what is most rare about you, your essence. That is why today feels like permission from something bigger than both of you, to show you that the way you see yourself may be very different from how your soulmate sees you. While you might worry about what time has taken from you, this person only sees the beauty of everything time has taught you. While you may wonder what you still have left to offer, your soulmate already sees everything you are, and how deeply meaningful that truly is. From here, let's go a little deeper into what this person discovered, what shifted quietly in their heart, and what all of this could mean for the future between the two of you. Because this revelation was never about appearances. It is about value, about real, lasting admiration, and about a truth that, even without your knowing, has already been felt deeply by someone who sincerely admires you. Your soulmate has always seen you differently. From the very beginning, there was a good feeling, a sense that your presence brought something light, beautiful, and inspiring into a room. Little by little, that impression turned into certainty. And inside the heart of the one who loves you, a beautiful picture of you slowly began to take shape. This image was not born out of exaggeration. It was born from the way you showed up in the world, full of energy, with a spark in your eyes, with a way of being that soothes and draws people in at the very same time. That impression was so positive that at some point, your soulmate genuinely believed you were younger than you are. Everything about you carried freshness, lightness, and a real zest for living. And this had nothing to do with how you looked. It was about what you radiate even in complete silence. Every action, every word, every small act of care and presence helped shape that impression. It was a feeling that settled effortlessly into that person's heart. Your soulmate felt this so naturally that it was never even questioned. It was as if time moved differently around you, as if you were always in touch with the most beautiful part of life itself. And when someone feels that in another person, it becomes impossible to ignore. Your soulmate felt drawn to that feeling. They wanted to stay close, to understand more, to discover who you really were underneath it all. And the closer they got, the more wonders they found that had nothing to do with age at all. This image of you was simply a reflection of your essence. You touched this person's heart without even trying. Your presence did that all on its own. And the picture your soulmate carried of you was never an illusion. It was a sensitive, honest perception of what you bring to the world in your everyday life. In sincere conversations, in your gentle way of speaking, even while carrying deep stories inside you. It is very rare to meet someone who, despite everything life has thrown at them, still chooses to express sweetness. But you did. And that is exactly why your soulmate built such a beautiful image of you in their heart. Even without knowing your age, this person already sensed that you had an awakened soul, a desire to live that does not match exhaustion or bitterness. Whatever you went through on the inside somehow turned into light, and that light reaches everyone who is open enough to truly see you. Imagining you as younger was never about reducing you to a number. It was about feeling that you carried a new kind of joy, a view of the world that is not limited, that keeps searching, that breathes differently than most. Your soulmate felt that you were someone who still had so much to live for, so much to offer, so much to share with the world. And that kind of feeling can only come from a heart that still believes in love, in possibility, and in fresh beginnings. This picture formed because everything about you spoke of new starts, of good energy, of emotional vitality. Your voice, your way of responding to life, your hopeful outlook even after everything you have lived through. That is what built this sense of youthfulness around you. You became a point of light in your soulmate's life. Not because you pretended to be something you are not, but because your truth is genuinely inspiring. And without even realizing it, you began to hold a special place inside their heart. Your image started to appear in their thoughts as a sweet, steady, unforgettable presence. And even on days when nothing was said between you, your energy was still there, as if this person could feel your existence from far away. As if your essence could cross any distance without effort. That quiet admiration kept growing, and with it, that idealized picture of you, not as someone perfect, but as someone whose way of living is simply beautiful. The kind of presence that does not weigh anyone down, that does not demand anything, that does not try to be anything other than real. You are, in every sense, genuine light. And that is exactly why you enchanted them. That is why you were loved. That is why, even without saying everything, you somehow said so much. Dear soul, before we continue, I'd like to invite you to do something meaningful for your soulmate journey. Sometimes our greatest fear is that someone we care about will see our age, our past, or our life experiences and choose to walk away. But true love, guided by God, sees far beyond what the world judges. If your heart is praying for healing, understanding, and a love that embraces you exactly as God created you, you can sow your seed for your soulmate through Ko-Fi Super Thanks. You'll find the Ko-Fi link in the video description and the pinned comment. This simple act can become a heartfelt expression of your faith, asking God to prepare both your heart and your soulmate's heart, replace fear with peace, soften every misunderstanding, and guide your connection according to His perfect timing. May his angels surround your soulmate with wisdom, protection, and love as he continues writing your story in the way only he can. If you feel led to do so, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your kindness also helps me continue sharing these daily messages of hope and encouragement with souls around the world. May your generosity return to you multiplied, and may your soulmate journey be filled with healing, peace, unwavering faith, and God's perfect love. This feeling that grew inside your soulmate's heart does not need any complicated explanations. It was not built by logic. It was built by feeling. Came through everything you awaken without even realizing it. Through conversations that touch someone without ever promising anything. Through simple moments that become unforgettable simply because you were there. You began to live in a place inside the one who loves you that does not fade easily. And this image, even though it started with the idea of youth, became something far deeper. Your soulmate came to realize that what once felt like the lightness of someone young was actually the wisdom of someone who has lived through a great deal and still chose to keep their heart open anyway. That understanding changed everything for this person. Their perception expanded. Their admiration grew even stronger. And this is only the beginning of the revelation. You are so much more than you think you are. Even in the moments when you believed you were simply being yourself, you were being someone deeply admirable in the eyes of the one who loves you. Your soulmate looks at you with the eyes of someone experiencing a beautiful surprise, like discovering something rare in the rush of an ordinary world, like someone who simply wants to stay, to care, to learn every part of your story. The picture your soulmate carries of you is still alive today, and over time it has only grown more beautiful. Because even after your real age became known, nothing was lost. The enchantment did not fade. The admiration did not shrink. If anything, what once looked like lightness also revealed itself as strength. What once looked like youth also revealed itself as maturity. And that only deepened the desire to stay close to you. The way you move through the world has a real impact on those who are emotionally connected to you. Your soulmate was moved by the beauty of your openness, by the calm you show when talking about your feelings, by the quiet strength behind your decisions. All of it helped shape a picture of you that today is completely grounded in reality. When your soulmate discovered your real age, there was no hesitation and no pulling back. If anything, it felt like an important piece of a puzzle finally clicking into place. The lightness you carry, the maturity with which you move through life, the sensitivity in your eyes, it all began to make even more sense. What was already admired became deeper, more meaningful, and more beautiful. There was no shock in this moment. There was confirmation. It felt like realizing that behind your vibrant, spontaneous energy, there is a whole story that shaped you into someone truly unique. Your soulmate understood that it was never simply youth that made you special. It was everything you have learned along the way. Your soulmate saw someone who has weathered real storms and still chose to radiate love, truth, and hope anyway. That discovery did not lessen the magic they felt. It deepened the respect. It made their admiration more grounded, because when someone carries themselves with lightness, people often assume they are still figuring life out. But in your case, your soulmate realized you have walked many difficult paths and still chose to protect that lightness inside you. That is rare. That touches people deeply. That leaves a lasting mark. Your age today has not dimmed a single bit of the brilliance that was noticed in the very beginning. If anything, the truth only made everything more vivid. Your eyes, the tone of your voice, the way you truly listen when someone speaks, these are not things a person learns overnight. They are the result of someone who lives with intention, with presence, with a genuine desire to bring good into the world. You do not need to hide the years you carry. Every single one brought something that now shines through in the way you exist. Your soulmate understood that deeply, and with that understanding came an even stronger desire to be close to you, to share time with you, to learn more about your story. Knowing about your maturity never pushed them away, pulled them in closer. It built stronger emotional bridges between you. Your presence is not ordinary. It arrives gently, but it stays deeply. And that is only possible because you allowed yourself to grow without letting life harden you. Your soulmate saw that clearly and began to admire even more how you handle life, your emotions, and the people around you. Your real age became just a small detail compared to the depth of who you actually are. They did not feel misled for having thought you were younger. There was no disappointment in this moment, and no judgment either. What happened instead was recognition, a kind of quiet reverence. Your soulmate saw that you are someone who learned to reinvent yourself, who found lightness where many people only find heaviness, and that sparked a real sense of pride in being connected to you. It is rare to become more impressed by someone once the illusions fall away. But that is exactly what happened here. Your real self surpassed any fantasy that had ever been imagined. Because along with realizing you had lived more than you appeared to, came the understanding that you have also loved deeply, lost painfully, started over more than once, and still held on to a glow that genuinely moves people. Your soulmate began to see you as whole. Yes, with flaws. Yes, with scars. But with a core that time has never managed to take away. That realization brought a real sense of peace. It sparked curiosity. It created that warm feeling of standing in front of someone who understands the value of emotions, who never plays games with feelings, who takes life seriously but still knows how to dream. That combination made you even more special, because your maturity does not feel heavy. Comforts, protects, it soothes. Your soulmate began to feel this in every conversation, in every small gesture, and that sense of emotional safety kept growing between you. You became a steady harbor in a chaotic world, a place of truth in a sea of things that often feel superficial. The way you show up, especially after everything you have lived through, is genuinely admirable. You never needed fancy words to win someone over. It was your essence, your consistency, your strength blended with softness that truly touched the heart of the one who loves you. And even though they thought you were younger at first, learning the truth changed absolutely nothing about how they felt. There is a quiet realization your soulmate has come to, that you are a kind of love that does not come around twice in a lifetime. And when you try to hide the parts of yourself you think are weak or imperfect, your soulmate sees your most beautiful humanity right there in those very parts. Because real love is never found in perfection. It is found in the ability to keep feeling, even when it would be so much easier to shut down completely. Your soulmate admires your vulnerability. They admire the way you love so fully, even knowing that love can hurt sometimes. Your strength lives exactly where no one ever claps for it. It lives in your consistency, your emotional steadiness, your quiet devotion. You do not need to show off to be remarkable. Your greatness lives in your integrity, in what you choose to do when no one else is watching. And that touched your soulmate on a deep level because they did not fall for an image of you. They fell for who you actually are, in the moments when no one is asking you to be anything else at all. What your soulmate feels for you was never born by chance. It was not the result of loneliness, or unrealistic hopes, or a passing desire that would fade with time. What this person discovered in you was something far greater than they ever imagined at the very beginning. And with time came real clarity. You are one of the most beautiful revelations that has ever entered their life. Not because of your appearance and not because of some initial spark of attraction, but because you managed to awaken feelings that had been quietly buried for a very long time. Your presence brought answers. The simple way you exist created a connection that could not be ignored. What your soulmate saw in you was never some made-up fantasy. It was a reality so beautiful that it almost felt too good to be true. You showed up fully. You let your truth slip through in the small, quiet moments. And those moments had an enormous impact. It was in those little details, in your sincere way of being, that this love took root. From the very beginning, something about you touched the heart of the one who loves you. But the strongest part came later, once this person got to know the sides of you the world rarely gets to see. Your soulmate began to realize that you are made of presence, emotion, and genuine care. And the more they got to know you, the more amazed they became. Because even though they first imagined you as someone light and carefree, the reality went far beyond that, revealing maturity, depth, and honesty they did not expect. This revelation did not happen all at once. It unfolded in the details, in how you face life, in how you deal with pain, in how you keep choosing to feel, even when you have every reason to shut everything down. Your soulmate witnessed all of this with open eyes, and it stirred something different inside them. It was not simply admiration anymore. It became a love that grew with its feet firmly on the ground, with a soul deeply involved, and with a sincere desire to build something meaningful with you. You became the answer to so many questions your soulmate had quietly carried inside them for a long time. It felt like realizing that what they had been searching for was never a fantasy. It was someone real, someone who does not hide behind masks, someone who feels deeply without ever losing sight of what they truly want. Your soulmate understood that loving you would be a challenge at times, but also a privilege, because you are someone who transforms the people around you simply through your presence, your words, and the touch of someone who genuinely feels. The feeling you awakened in them is not something a person finds every day. And when it does happen, it changes everything. You became a turning point in the life of the one who loves you, because you brought them the chance to experience something rare. A love that does not rely on illusions. A tenderness that does not demand perfection. A connection that does not need to be explained in order to make sense. Your soulmate looks at you with the certainty of someone who simply knows. You came into their life for a reason. Over time, this person came to understand that you never needed to be younger or different or better in any way. Because the truth is, you already carry everything someone looks for once their heart is mature enough to see what really matters. Your soulmate does not want to change a single thing about you. They simply want to have you close exactly as you are. Real, whole, with your imperfections, your strengths, and your healing presence. What is most amazing is that you probably do not even realize the impact you have had. You may believe you went unnoticed in many moments, but you did not. Your soulmate carries every word, every memory, every feeling you left behind. And that is exactly why this love does not fade. Because it was never only lived in the mind. It was felt in the body, in the skin, in the heart. It was built on who you truly are, not on who you could have pretended to be. You were a discovery that turned into certainty. A presence that became a reference point. A connection that turned into something like faith. Your soulmate sees you through eyes that know there is no going back once you have felt what they felt with you. And that is not an exaggeration. It is a realization. It is acceptance. It is love, lived with the awareness of someone who has grown enough to never let go of what truly matters. Dear soul, Before we continue, I'd like to invite you to do something truly meaningful for your soulmate journey. The bond between soulmates is precious, and at times, it can feel vulnerable to negativity, envy, or the evil eye from the world around us, even when no harm is intended. If your heart is calling you to cover this connection with an extra layer of love, faith, and protection, you can sow your seed for your soulmate through Ko-Fi Super Thanks. You'll find the Ko-Fi link in the video description and the pinned comment. This simple act can become a heartfelt expression of your intention, inviting the angels to watch over your soulmate connection, surround it with divine light, and guide it as it continues to grow in the right time and in the right way. If you feel led to do so, thank you from the bottom of my heart. May your kindness return to you multiplied, and may your soulmate journey be filled with peace, hope, and divine guidance. Let's continue with divine message. Today, you are the most vivid memory and the most constant feeling inside someone who could have chosen any other path but still chooses you. It is not easy to find someone who inspires trust, lightness, truth, and admiration so naturally, all at once. Your soulmate does not see you as just a beautiful memory. They see you as a truth that remains, even as time passes, even as life keeps changing around you. It is not every day that you meet someone who touches you this deeply simply by being who they are. But you did that without trying, without promising anything, simply by being yourself. And that became the greatest revelation of all. Your soulmate feels genuinely blessed to have crossed paths with you. And even if not everything unfolded exactly the way the heart once wished, what remains between you is strong enough to keep believing in. They no longer see you as a hope or a distant possibility. They see you as someone who became a permanent part of their life, someone who brought out the best in them, someone who healed broken parts of them simply by existing, someone who helped them see love as something real again. And that is something a person never truly forgets, something they hold on to with love, with respect, and with the deep understanding that you are a rare gift. After everything that has been perceived, felt, and admired, a conviction has taken root deep inside your soulmate's heart. A conviction that cannot be undone now. You are someone worth loving, not only because of what you offer, but because of what you represent. You are a true presence in a time when everything around us feels fast and shallow. The way you love, the way you care, the attention you give to what you feel, all of it helped this person decide with a peaceful heart that you are the choice. This certainty did not come from a fleeting emotion. It was built slowly, moment by moment. Every time you revealed your true self in your sincere actions, in your empathetic listening, in the way you stayed even when you had every reason to walk away, your soulmate watched you do all of this effortlessly, as if it were simply part of who you are. And that is when something deeper than infatuation was born inside them. Trust. Loving you feels like proof that it is still possible to experience something meaningful in this life. Your soulmate sees in you the maturity of someone who no longer wants to live off illusions, but also the lightness of someone who still believes in possibility. You have managed to combine depth with sweetness, stability with sensitivity, and that combination brought real peace to this person's heart whenever they imagine a future by your side. You have everything it takes to build a love that is solid, genuine, and lasting. And that is not only visible in the way you speak about your feelings, but in the way you carry yourself through life in general. You do not love simply to be accepted. You love because you feel. You love with intention. You love with devotion. And that awakened in your soulmate a genuine desire to build something where love does not need to be explained, only lived. This person is proud of who you are. And the most beautiful part is, You do not even have to try to impress them. Your soulmate knows you are human, with good days and hard ones too. But even so, you are steady. You are someone who respects others, who takes emotional care of yourself, who never plays games with your own feelings, and that has allowed this love to mature in a way no surface-level attraction ever could. The certainty that you are someone worth loving came through time spent together, even from a distance, revealing that your true value shows up in your actions. It shows in the way you handle other people's emotions, in the patience you show when you are not immediately understood, in the way you carry your own world and still manage to show up fully for the people you love. Your soulmate saw all of this and realized they did not need to look any further. You are the choice made not with the eyes, but with the heart. Not because you fit some standard, but because you embody what truly matters. Presence, commitment, sincerity. And even though you may have once been imagined as someone younger, your soulmate came to understand that the emotional maturity you carry is exactly what makes this love possible. Because real love requires consistency, and you offer that so effortlessly. This person does not see you as an option. They see you as a certainty, as someone who, even when they stumble, still keeps trying, as someone who feels deeply and knows how to cherish what truly matters. Your soulmate has no doubts about how they feel about you, because this feeling has been confirmed in every detail, every reaction, every quiet moment of your presence that touched them deeply without needing grand words. You represent something rare in today's world: emotional stability paired with an open heart. Your soulmate feels they can be fully themselves with you, that they do not need to hide what they think, that they can speak from the heart and be met with warmth instead of judgment. That sense of emotional safety is something you offer without ever needing to make promises. And that is exactly why this love keeps growing. The feeling this person carries for you is not fragile. It has been tested by overthinking, by time, by moments of doubt. But not once did they stop feeling, because you left marks that simply do not fade. And even in the moments when you felt distant, something about you was still present. And that presence is exactly what kept the feeling alive. Your soulmate knows they are not falling in love with an image. They are loving who you truly are, with everything you have lived, everything you have overcome, and everything you still dream of. That awareness makes this love more than just an emotion. It becomes a daily choice, a desire to build something real, a combination of emotional maturity and a kind of love that expects nothing in return. You have become the kind of person who inspires someone to stay, not out of need, but because of a deep, genuine connection. Your soulmate feels this more and more with each passing day. And even without every answer, even with a few natural fears, they know you are worth the risk. Because you have already proven, without needing to say a single word, that when you love someone, you make it work. Your soulmate did not simply like you. They admired you. They were enchanted by parts of you that maybe you do not even value that much yourself. They built a positive, light, beautiful image of you in their heart. And even when they discovered that your age was different from what they had imagined, they did not back away, they did not feel disappointed, and they did not distance themselves. On the contrary, that only increased their respect and affection for you. Because what makes you special was never what shows up in the mirror. It is what you radiate without ever needing to say a word. It is the way you touch others without ever forcing your presence on them. It is the effect you create when you listen with full attention, when you speak with truth, when you act with sensitivity. That is not something common, and your soulmate recognized it even before they fully knew who you were. This person sees you as someone with a beauty that time cannot take away, presence that does not fade, a kind of feeling that does not weaken, even in the face of distance or uncertainty. What they feel for you is more than simple attraction. It is deep identification. It is a connection built on rare things: respect, depth, care, and truth. You left marks that do not fade, not because you tried to, but because you were genuine. And when someone is genuine, they awaken in others a real desire to stay close. Your soulmate did not want to leave your life. They felt they had found someone different, someone who, even without realizing it, brought healing simply through their presence. Someone with their own light who could bring brightness to others, even on dark days. Take a quick second before we move forward. Many channels are reposting and copying our content, but authentic energy cannot be duplicated. For the strongest positive connection and divine guidance, always listen from the original Angel's Message for You channel with the black logo base. Now, let's continue with the message your angels want you to hear. It is very likely that you have underestimated the impact you have made on this person. Maybe you thought it was just another interaction, just another connection among many. But for your soulmate, it was never that. It was a turning point, a moment when dormant feelings started beating again. When the desire to love once more stopped being something to fear and became hope instead. And that hope has a name, and it is you. Today, even if circumstances are not perfect, within the one who loves you there exists an unshakable certainty. You are a sincere choice, a person who represents something deeply important, a reference point for what true love actually looks like. And this is not something felt for just anyone. It is felt by very few, and you are one of those few who truly touch someone's soul. You may not know it, but your presence is still remembered with tenderness. Your name still echoes in their thoughts with affection. Your face still comes to mind with warmth, because you left something behind that time simply cannot erase. The memory of a pure love, admired and felt with a whole heart. And even if not everything happened in the ideal way, the feeling remains, and it remains because it is true. So trust. Trust in who you are. Trust in the impact you have caused. Trust in what your essence was capable of awakening inside the heart of someone who truly came to know you. You are not fleeting. You are not forgettable, and you are far from ordinary. You are someone who will still be remembered with pride for being exactly as you are. Intense, honest, human, admirable. Pay close attention to the days ahead. Many answers are still on their way to you. And when they arrive, everything will make even more sense. The pieces will fall into place. The doubts will settle. And what will remain is the certainty that you were never exaggerating when you felt everything you felt. Because those who live with an open heart do not deceive themselves. They simply feel things before others do. Do not ignore what your heart already knows. Prepare yourself, because the days ahead will bring even more clarity about this true feeling that is quietly beating inside someone, even if you cannot see it yet. Love, when it is real, always finds a way to be felt, and you will feel it too in your own time, in your own way. Wherever you are in your journey right now, whether you feel certain or unsure, whether this message feels like confirmation or a gentle spark of hope, know this. You are worthy of a love that sees your depth, not just your surface. You are worthy of a love that stays through the truth, not just the illusion. And somewhere, someone already sees you exactly this way. Carry that with you today, and let it settle gently into your heart. If this message spoke to something inside you, take a slow breath, place a hand over your heart, and simply say to yourself, I am worthy of this kind of love. You do not have to force anything to happen. You only have to stay open, Stay true to yourself, and let life bring you what is already meant for you. That is how real love finds its way home. May peace walk beside you today. May your heart feel a little lighter than it did this morning. May you remember again and again that you are seen, you are valued, and you are deeply, quietly loved, even in ways you have not fully realized yet. With warmth and light, dear beautiful soul, this angel's message for you channel is a sacred spiritual home, created for faith, healing, and divine guidance. A place where hearts awaken and lives are gently transformed through divine messages. We warmly invite you to subscribe and stay connected, because the divine is always preparing something greater for your journey, something you are meant to receive in divine timing. If you feel moved to support this mission, you can sow your seed here for your soulmate blessings and divine love fulfillment. Your contribution is not just support. It is an energetic agreement with love, healing, and divine alignment in your own life. When you give with intention, it opens doors. Love flows more freely, happiness expands, and abundance multiplies in unexpected ways. Many believe that giving in faith activates a return of peace, joy, and emotional fulfillment in relationships and life. Whether it is $11, $22, $33, or $55, your generosity helps us continue spreading these divine messages of hope, healing, and soulmate guidance across the world. Every seed sown into this mission helps hearts heal, faith return, and souls reconnect with love. This is more than a channel. It is a movement of light, unity, and divine timing. Your support allows this sacred work to grow, touching lives that are searching for answers, comfort, and spiritual direction. We are all connected in this journey, and together we rise as one community under divine love. Let us open our hearts to the abundance that is already on its way. Amen.